helping you find the right tax professional and avoid the latest scams. This is Taxpayer Beware, presented by the California Tax Education Council.
The Internal Revenue Service recently issued a consumer alert about a series of tax scams and bad social media advice that led thousands of taxpayers to file refund claims they didn't qualify for. But that's not all. Also on the radar, scammers contacting taxpayers on social media, pretending to be the IRS, and if it's not social media, sometimes through calls, emails, and texts. So how can you tell if the advice is legitimate or a scam? And if you fall victim to a scam, what can you do? Joining us is Cristela Sanchez, Senior Stakeholder Liaison with the IRS. Thank you so much for joining us. How do you know if it's really the IRS contacting you?
Well, thank you, Ray and CTEC, first of all, for inviting me to share some information on scams. So how do you know if it's really the IRS? That's a good question, how to start off right now. So I'm going to share with beware of scammers posing as the IRS. Ray, identity thieves may try to contact taxpayers through fraudulent calls, emails, texts, and social media messages pretending to be the IRS. So how do you know when it's really the IRS calling? Well, let me start by sharing, Ray, with you and your audience that, the IRS initiates most contacts through regular mail delivered by the United States Postal Service. However, there are circumstances in which the IRS will call or come to your home or your business. Now, this includes when a taxpayer has an overdue tax bill, first of all, or a delinquent unfiled tax return, or has not made an employment tax deposit. Now, Ray, I wanted to share, though, and stress that these visits are from our collection or our examination departments, such as our revenue agents. However, now, even when the taxpayer will generally first receive several notices from the IRS before they call or visits, scams still take many shapes and forms, such as the phone calls, letters, and email. Ray, we're seeing many IRS impersonators. They use threats to intimidate and bully people into paying fabricated tax bills. They may even, try to threaten or to arrest or deport their would-be victim if they don't comply. So, it's important that your audience understands that the IRS never sends messages asking for personal or financial information, especially when it comes to a tax refund. Now, scammers' messages will often direct taxpayers to click fraudulent links. They are claims, they are the IRS websites or other online tools. So I want to stress your audience, do not click. Let me repeat that, right? So your audience can get that. Do not click. Now, regarding emails from the IRS, we only email you with your permission. Such as an example, if you are under an audit, examination from the IRS. Now, Ray, you had mentioned about phone calls. So I also want to share with your audience regarding phone calls that are under audit. So if someone sees a notice for payment or letter, IRS agents may call to confirm an appointment or discuss items for a scheduled audit. Taxpayers should know that, let's share with you, that, the IRS doesn't leave pre-recorded urgent or threatening messages. Scammers will tell victims if they don't call back, a warrant will be issued for their arrest. No. These are called scams. Now, I want to share that the private collection agency that the IRS works with may call taxpayers to collect certain outstanding inactive tax liabilities. However, only after sending written notices to the taxpayer and their representative. And I also want to share with you that the IRS and its authorized private collection agencies will never ask a taxpayer to pay using by a form of prepaid card or online gift cards. I'm sure you've seen this all over the social media and so forth. We never ask for or accept gift cards as payment for tax bills. We just don't do that. So I want to share that and let your audience be aware that taxpayers can review their IRS payments at our IRS Gov payments page for all legitimate different ways of making a payment. So that's the direction that we would love for everyone to go to.
Well, that's awesome, Christelle. I think of stories that I've heard around people getting those calls. And I think it's a great reminder if it's out of the blue and it's a surprise and you're getting a call, it's probably a potential scam because if you haven't been notified prior to a call, it's someone trying to scam you. You mentioned also someone trying to fabricate a story, make threats. All those are really, really good reminders to everyone. And with artificial intelligence, those calls are starting to sound pretty real. So I think it's a really good information for our listeners to be aware of. I certainly personally have received text messages to my phone number with those links you've brought up, and certainly knew it was a scam. But it's when they're making threats via text, and sometimes it's easy to click on those things and then get into this spiral of potential problems. So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those. What are some common tax scams that you're aware of?
We see so many, Ray, through the IRS. Oh my goodness. But I'll share a few with you, such as the charity impersonators. Beware of those fake charities. Check before donating. Check their link to make sure that it's real, that it's authentic. So please, that charity impersonators are a big threat with the IRS. Another one is our refund misinformation. Incorrect information on how to get a bigger refund. You see those ads, right, everywhere. Those are misleading. You to claim credits that you may not be eligible for. So that's another one. This can lead to a delay in your refund. It may cause an audit or any other consequences like fines. Our other one, I'm sure you've heard of our clean energy tax credits, right, Ray? You've seen those all over. Well, that's another big recent tax scam. We're warning of the clean energy credit scams all over our website. And we're also seeing in these instances where unscrupulous tax return preparers are misrepresenting the rules for claiming the clean energy credit in the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA. We have on our homepage of many common tax scams at IRS. And then I like to also reference to your audience on the clean energy of the new tax scam, and that's going to be the IR 2024-182. That right there will give you a wealth of information, a warning of the clean energy tax credit. But again, on our website, we have much more of the common tax scams, and the IRS also shares what to do if you receive these.
Well, thank you so much for talking about the resources available and the list of scams out there that impersonators of the IRS have tried. And tax season is a big financial event for a lot of families. And that call saying that you're due a higher refund certainly would catch a lot of people's attention during these times, right? It's
Yes.
certainly a common one that I've heard quite a bit. So thank you so much for sharing and educating our audience about that. Where would people go if to report one of these scams if they've received maybe a phone call or fraudulent email or a text?
If someone in your audience does receive a letter, a notice from the IRS, take action. Okay, that's many. Don't ignore any letters that come from the IRS, first of all. And also make sure that it's really from the IRS. And if it's a letter, we always send out information on that letter with instructions. So follow the instructions in the letter. And here's another big one, Ray, that I always tell everyone. Keep records of all your contacts and copies of any letters that you send to the IRS. It's so important that you keep your documentation with you. And if your return is rejected by chance because that someone has already filed a fraudulent tax return using your Social Security number or a individual tax identification number, which we call an ITIN, you need to report it to us immediately. You need to report it by using the Scam Competing Online form, which is the 14242 form. And your audience can go to our website and just type in 14242 on the search box, and they'll be able to upload that document. And they need to complete it and then follow the instructions and send it to us. Now, Ray, I also have a phone number that I want to share with everybody that if that form does not take care or resolve your situation, the phone number that everyone can call is 800-908-4490. And they are available from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm going to go ahead and share that again with your audience. And that's 800-908-4490. Now, Ray, I want to also share with your audience that in order to report the phone and email and other types of impersonation scams, they'll need to report these impersonation scams to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. And they do that by reporting it on our website at irs.gov. Now, here's another phone number for the TIGTA, and that is 800-366-4480 to report them. You can call that number as well. Now, to report a phone scam, you're going to need to report that to the Federal Trade Commission using the FTC Complaint Assistance. Now, here it's important that when you do send that email, that you need to put on the top IRS telephone scam in the notes so they can make sure that it is the telephone scam and the FTC will take proper actions on that. Now, if by chance someone gets a unsolicited email claiming to be from the IRS, we spoke about that. You see a lot of that. We want everyone to send those emails to phishing@irs.gov. So I know I shared a lot with you right there. So if there's something you'd like for me to repeat, I have no problem. It's just that we have different departments of where you're going to send the information to.
Well, the great thing about a podcast is they can rewind it a little bit and grab those numbers and those resources. And so that's super helpful to all of our listeners. And I really appreciated the reminder about sometimes the scams aren't just a phone call, email, or text. There's actually fraud that happens in claiming credits that you're not legally qualified to receive. And I think it's important. It is upon the taxpayer's responsibility to understand, right, what you're signing. So if someone is offering a larger refund or marketing to be able to get you a certain size refund or promising to get you a refund, it's probably too good to be true. And as you recommended, as a reminder, we do recommend, even if that return was filed and accepted, to file an amended return to avoid penalties and interest. So appreciate the info. Yeah. Thank you. So thank you so much, Cristela. And again, it's something we cannot stress enough. You will need, you're not going to get in trouble with the IRS or the California Franchise Tax Board for reporting scammers, even if they prepared your return. So we just mentioned a little bit about potential credits, right, that you weren't eligible for. The IRS and Franchise Tax Board depend on these reports from the public. And if you mistakenly hire a fraudulent tax preparer, again, there's a list of tax preparers who can help you amend your tax return at ctech.org or irs.gov. We also have other episodes on how to find the right tax pro for you, available to download on taxpayerbeware.org. So just know that you have lots of resources there to help you. Cristela, do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to add?
Well, I have one more comment to make, and I'll go ahead and give you guys a closing remark. So, I just want to share with your audience that, to avoid these penalties and potential follow-up actions by the IRS, like you had mentioned, filing an amended return. So, taxpayers who incorrectly file for these claims need to promptly do submit an accurate tax return without these claims that they don't qualify for. So, I just want to stress that if this does happen to you, please visit irs.gov. We have tools that if you should file an amended return and how to determine if they should file an amended return on their own. So, and they have steps. It's an interview that will help you determine if you should file an amended return to correct an error or make other changes to your return. So I just want to direct everyone to our website because there is an amazing tool on should I file an amended return. So my closing remarks for you, Ray, and for your audience. Yes, every year we compile what we call the Dirty Dozen list, a variety of common scams that taxpayers and tax officials may encounter during filing season as people prepare their returns. So don't fall prey. Now we're going to begin sharing these Dirty Dozen lists during the upcoming filing season. So I'm probably in January, we'll start sharing this. I'll start sharing it with CTEC. We'll start posting them on our website. So I'm going to refer your audience to please visit irs.gov to look up the Dirty Dozen, and those will also assist your audience and further with these scams.
All right. Well, that should be pretty easy for everyone to remember, Dirty Dozen. Thank you, Christella. And again, it's something we cannot stress enough. You will not get in trouble with the IRS or California Franchise Tax Board for reporting scammers, even if they prepared your tax return. The IRS and Franchise Tax Board really depend on these reports from you. If you did mistakenly hire a fraudulent tax preparer, again, there's a list of tax preparers who can help you amend your tax return at ctec.org or irs.gov. We also have other episodes on how to find the right tax pro for you available to download at taxpayerbeware.org. I'm Ray Davis. This is Taxpayer Beware. We'll see you on the next episode.
This podcast was produced in partnership with Amaze Media Labs.